Welcome to the Online Marketing for Doctors podcast, the place to grow and scale profitable practices with your show hosts, Huyen Truong and Steve Tate.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Online Marketing for Doctors podcast. This is the first Australian healthcare marketing podcast channel designed to help motivated practitioners implement clever marketing ideas to grow and scale their practice. We are your hosts. I'm Stephen Tate, and this is Huyen Truong.
Hello, everyone.
And today we're very, very excited because today is it's a historical podcast on the podcast channel today. This is our first guest speaker who's in today. So joining us on the podcast today is Dr. Mark Attalla. Welcome to the podcast. Well, thank you for joining us today. First off, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Mark Attalla. My background, I came from Egypt. In Egypt, I was a general surgeon and came to Australia like 1995. And I got engaged in the College of Cosmetic Surgery, had my training there, and I've been doing cosmetic surgery for more than 15 years.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. And we are coming today, broadcasting from Melbourne at your practice.
Yeah, that's one of my practice in Templestowe, Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this practice... we've been in this practice for 5 years now, and I had a practice before in Chelsea Heights.
Yeah,
in the other side of the town.
Wonderful. Yeah. So you've been at this location for 5 years.
5 years, yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about what you do here?
We do almost everything in terms of the body and face cosmetic procedures.
Yeah.
So we do blepharoplasties like eye tuck. We do tummy tucks, we do liposuctions, we do thread lift, we do all types of lasers, all types of skin peels. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Surgical and non-surgical.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is there anything that seems to be a specialty, something that...
something of interest, I would say it's the most interesting thing to me is a stem cells transplant.
Ah, sure.
Stem cells fat transplant.
Right.
Because I think that's the future.
Yeah.
We're getting very good results with it, and it's getting more and more popular now.
Yeah.
Excellent. Great. Well, now Mark has brought to us today a very interesting topic that he was interested in discussing, and one that we get a lot of conversation with amongst other healthcare practitioners that we talk to, and that is how to increase your patient conversion rate following an initial consultation. So I was just wondering, first off, if you could just tell us a little bit about your past history with sort of the initial consultation experience.
Well, I when I first started, I didn't know much about the conversion and how you increase the conversion rate and what's important to the client. So, for instance, it's my background is surgery, so I thought that the cosmetic surgery is similar to normal surgery. And the patient, they want to walk in, and then you convince them with the surgery, and that's it. But so the clinic was basic, it looked nice and everything, but we didn't pay attention to all the small details that we pay attention at now. So we pay attention now at when you walk into the clinic. That's what I learned over the years. The clinic has to look nice, has to smell nice, has to have a smile on the face of all the employees. They have to be friendly. They have to be the music, the background music has to be nice background music, and all the details, the way you welcome the client, and the way you keep eye contact with the client, listen more than talking, give them enough time, and you should have lots of explanation or lots of ways of explaining how you do the procedure on your screen, animation movies, things to... I myself, I use a PowerPoint for each and every procedure, and that shows the client how we do the procedure and show them at the end the before and after.
Sure.
And we showed them both. So that both in terms, like I showed them the good results and the average results.
Right.
That gives the client more of like confidence in this, the doctor. And we tell them about all the side effects. Like we don't hide anything, and that makes him feel more comfortable.
Sure.
We don't overpromise. And that makes him more comfortable as well.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a very broad.
Yeah, it can talk like hours. It can talk hours. But I didn't know about all that. Like I didn't know that you have to like look into all the details. The main thing, like I get clients from other clinics, they had consultations before, and they either talk about the staff. They say the staff wasn't that friendly.
Sure.
So that makes me feel comfortable that our staff is better. That's why they choose our clinic. And even we get compliments after that. They say that that happened like yesterday. We had a compliment from one of our clients saying that the staff is fantastic and the service was very good.
Great.
Yeah, and that tells us that we're doing right. The other thing is that you notice the difference in conversion. Our conversion rate, I would say 10 years ago, I would say 50%. Now we actually got up to 90%.
Wow, that's a great rate.
Massive jump. Yeah.
I would say the 10% they don't like convert. Mainly, either they don't have the money,
right,
or they maybe they have like more expectations that we give them.
Yeah, sure.
They want to
sure.
like have like they want someone who can overpromise with something. Like
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back then. That 10 years. Like, well, when you were sort of around 50%, what would your sort of initial consultation process at that point look like?
As a surgeon.
Yeah, sure.
I'm
Right.
going to cut you.
I'm going to cut you right
Cut
now.
you open.
Yeah, no, definitely. There was no. I didn't have like any methods of explaining what I'm doing.
Right.
I had the before and after, and I thought that's enough. Like just explain, and then I showed them the before and after.
Right.
But the more you give them, the more brochures you give them, the more that. The other thing I missed as well, the handouts. Handouts are very important. So we have two ways of handouts. We actually either email them some information, or we give them like a folder with all the information. Okay. Nowadays we are in a process of improving. So I'm not sure if you notice or not that all our consent forms and the initial consultations is done like digitally.
Yep.
And I think not many clinics do that.
Yep.
So and what we're doing as well, that the initial consultation is going to be on a memory card, and we give it to the patient instead of all the paperwork. So they walk out with a memory card, and they have everything about the procedure. Me talking about the procedure, what's the most common questions and all that.
Right.
So that will improve the service as well.
Okay, great. And was there something that sort of inspired you to kind of like look at this process and be like, okay, wait, maybe me just wanting to cut you is not the best strategy to.
Yeah, learning. We learn from the clients. We learn from the media. I try I like to search and see what other people are doing. And we get actually one time we invited. I'm not sure if you know about this. It's called corporate psychologists.
Okay.
The corporate psychologist came to the clinic and she assessed the clinic and she gave us some ideas.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why you can see that she asked us to put like a blanket on that gives you a homey feeling.
Right.
Some flowers, some plants, and we didn't have all that.
There's a psychology to getting people to sort of
feel more relaxed and home.
and stuff. Right. Great. And I mean, was there any sort of trial and error that I guess maybe you did historically to try to increase patient rates, conversion rates that you were thinking to yourself, maybe we should have done that differently, or did you only see good progress, I guess?
Definitely. There's difference as well in the cultural background. So you learn from the Aussie culture is different from the Asian culture, is different from the Indian culture.
Right.
So everyone is different. So for instance, it's you do like trials and then definitely you change. But I I can't remember anything like in particular now that we tried and we found that's not working.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can answer that later.
No,
I just need to,
No, I
because
think
I'm on the spot. I can't think of it.
Fair enough. But I think actually what you suggested even right there, like that there, even amongst people, there's a cultural difference that maybe we all have, that people are all unique.
Different.
And so there isn't really maybe a true unique solution. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you always have to try to massage everything to fit each individual circumstance.
There is cultural difference. Like, for instance, my experience with the Asian culture, that you have to keep eye contact like 100%.
Right.
Do you feel like they are looking into your soul inside?
Sure.
Honestly, while with the Aussies, they look into your brain and they think of safety.
Right.
Safety is the main thing.
Right.
For the Asian background, honesty is their main concern. If you're honest, they stick to you and they follow you wherever you go.
Right. Yeah. So honesty, very valuable trait to have. Yeah. Right. Great. Now you mentioned that you were getting sort of 90% now conversion rate, which is obviously incredible. I think a lot of practices would love to have that type of conversion rate. I mean, how much time and effort does this take? I mean, is this...
You spend lots of time. Like, for instance, yesterday I had a patient she's actually flying from Pakistan. Wow. So not from Pakistan, from Sri Lanka.
Right.
She's from Sri Lankan. And I spent like 1 hour, talking about bottom transplant, fat transplant.
Right.
So it takes as much as it takes for the patient to convince them. But she left the room and she came today to book for the procedure.
Yeah, right.
24 hours, she made it on. Initially, she was like, I'm not sure, but we ended up by she coming to the clinic on the second day, waiting for the procedure.
Great.
So 1 hour, but the outcome is very good.
Yeah, sure. Fair enough. Okay.
So some people, they take longer time. So I don't specify time to spend, unless if there's if I have to leave the patient, I pass them to another person to look after them and to answer the questions.
Sure.
But I don't let go without me or the rest of the staff answering all the questions.
That's an interesting point you bring up about not letting go, because I think a lot of practices, if they don't see sort of an immediate signing up or taking on, they might just sort of let that potential client go. Yeah. Do you have a nurturing process where, if say, a week from initial consultation or 2 weeks, could you describe maybe that?
We the girls, they write we have a system. They put the names of the potential clients and they follow up with the client in a week and then in 4 weeks. And sometimes even we get clients they have the consultation by the early of the year and they book by mid-year or at the end of the year.
Right.
Yeah, but we keep following up with them. Okay, at least 4 times.
Great. At least 4 times. Right. 4 times, Great. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, do you have any sort of advice, any sort of real sort of practical knowledge that you've accumulated over time that you could instill into our listeners here who might be thinking about, well, what could I do to increase the patient conversion rates at my practice?
I think looking into all the details and try to, as you mentioned before, to change your strategy all the time and to look around and see what other people they do, and then you start from there, and then you can have your own input to improve it. And so you have to have a one step up front of your competitors. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you're gonna fall behind, and there will be always the difference between you and them.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Now we're going to put you on the spot here with an additional question. This one a little bit more about online marketing, which is something that
you've done so successfully over the years, and we'd love to hear more about your best advice and tips that you can potentially give to our audience today. So
I've been doing online marketing for years, and like Google, like 15 years ago, wasn't as difficult as as they are now. So it was much easier. And at that time, I didn't have too much knowledge about SEO and online marketing. So I said, as a part of the problem was from the like my side, I was like too impatient to get results. And one of the bad experiences I had at we kept pushing some keywords, and Google changed the algorithm. That means it changed the rules, and we ended up having a manual penalty. That means it's a problem. I was just explaining it. You're going to explain it. It's a problem that it needs time to be fixed, and takes you months to fix it.
A lot of practices aren't even aware that they have penalties because they may not even be sort of focusing on that side of things. So it's common, and it's good that you bring it up.
Yeah. So I had myself to have like a beginner's course about the SEO, and then after that I started to know what's the how the game is played.
Sure.
A little bit, not like everything about it. So the advice is for anyone is to choose the company you deal with. Don't go for over-promising companies. That's the one that you stay away. Like one company just talking to when, and one of the companies they said that they can put me on like the page number 1 in 2 months. I said, you don't even ask me what keywords. Like all the keywords they can go on page number 1 in 3 months. So I knew straight away that he's he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Sure.
So avoided over-promising companies. See what's their expertise and their results, and that gives you more confidence in the companies. And if the company they can treat you as a special person or a special company, or to treat you as like their main focus, that's the one you deal with. They give you more information. So once they are happy to give you more information, that's the one you stick to, like your company.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. We do appreciate it. And though, funnily enough, how that reflects on what we were talking about earlier about patient conversions, where if you treat patients with sort of maybe that honesty, that respect, that care, they're more likely to use you.
Definitely.
And you're looking for the same thing out of your service providers,
exactly.
people with things. So very similar. We want to be treated the way that we sort of would want to treat other people. Right.
Exactly.
Great. Well, Mark, thank you very much for joining us on the podcast today.
I learned to be with you.
As I said, this was a very historic one, the first ever guest that we've had on the show, so thank you very much. And if any of our listeners out there are interested in joining the podcast as a guest, please, we'd love to hear from you. We have a link to registering yourself as a guest on the show in our show notes, so you can click on that. And if you had any comments on today's show, maybe ideas around how you've increased the patient conversion rates at your practices, please leave them in the comments section below. Thanks for joining us today on the podcast, and we look forward to seeing you at the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Online Marketing for Doctors podcast with Huyen Truong and Steve Tate. Be sure to check out the archive section on our website for previous episodes at onlinemarketingfordoctors.com/podcast. And subscribe to the show so we can catch you at the next episode.